Hello everyone, I am going to demonstrate how to set up a Swagger endpoint for openfaas functions. Let's begin. I've got openfaas running on Kubernetes. I use the K3 sub utility to set up openfaas. With a single line of command, you can have openfaas up and running in seconds using this utility. Currently, I don't have any openfaas functions running. This utility could be set up either as a standalone entity or as a openfaas function. First, let's see how to set it up as a standalone entity. For deploying as a separate entity, please use the Kubernetes YAML in K8's deploy directory. It has a config map, a service, and a deployment. In the deployment, there's an image name, which you could also leverage. It's a pre-built image. And the important thing that you need to pay attention to is the environment variable openfaas gateway, which has the openfaas gateway to be pointing to. I have given HTTP gateway 8080 because I am going to be deploying it in the same namespace as the openfaas control plane. And then the two config maps, there's a swagger.yaml config map and a sample.yaml config map. In the swagger.yaml config map is a skeleton of the Swagger YAML that we are going to build, and the sample.yaml is going to be used for functions which don't specify any annotations for the setting of the Swagger. Let's apply this YAML file in the openfaas namespace, which should deploy this utility in that namespace. Port forward to the faas-swagger service. Now we should be able to bring this up in the browser and see how the Swagger UI looks. So right now the Swagger UI should not have any functions as we have not deployed any functions. That's what we are seeing here. Now let's go and deploy some functions. Currently there are two functions that I have already which I have built and pushed. One is the Swagger test and a Python test. I'm going to deploy both of them. After deploying both the functions, let's head to the openfaas UI and see whether the functions are up and running. Yeah, here we see both the functions, and then yes, they are ready to be invoked. Let's head to the Swagger UI. Yes, in the Swagger UI you should see both the functions. So both are post requests because we didn't specify any method as of now. Let's go to the Swagger YAML that got created. Okay, so this is the Swagger YAML that got created, and as you can see, both have the default, they have the path and the default post method and the default response body. You can also test your function from here. Yes, without any input. Yeah, this is the output you get. Same like how you can do in openfaas, you can do it here. But this is not the real thing that you want, right? You want to document your function. So how to document the functions? So that's what I'm going to show now. So there's an example.yaml in the repository that you can go and see. There's an annotation called Swagger. So that is what you need to add to your functions. So I'm going to take this annotation and add it to the Python test. I have added an annotation called Swagger in the function descriptor YAML or the stack.yaml. This describes the function in OpenAPI Spec 3.0. I wrote it as a YAML and then converted to JSON. If you don't format the JSON properly, it's not going to show up in the Swagger UI. So please validate your JSON before adding it here. I'm going to deploy the function again. Okay, the function is deployed. Let's head to the Swagger UI and see whether it has changed. Okay, now you see the Swagger UI, it has changed and you have the description there, and you can add post, put, delete, whatever you want. And you can see the Swagger YAML, you have the update, you don't have the default value anymore. You see the updated value. So all this utility does is it goes to each function, gets the annotation, combines them into a Swagger YAML, and the Swagger UI shows it for us. As you can see, there are two parts to this. One is the Swagger UI and another one is the Swagger YAML, right? So this Swagger YAML could be deployed as a function. So that is the second method that I'm going to show here. Instead of deploying it as a separate entity which contains the UI and the YAML generation, we can have the Swagger YAML generation part as a function itself. So you head over to the repository and go to Swagger as a function folder, and there you will have the steps to do it. So in this directory, you're going to have the function stack.yaml. So I'll just open it and show what it contains. So it contains the gateway that I'm going to deploy to and what is the image that I'm going to use. So you can also use the same image, and while deploying the image, all you need to specify is the environment variable there, the openfaas gateway, and you have to create a secret. The secret that I'm going to create are swagger.yaml and sample.yaml. The swagger.yaml, as I showed earlier, which was a config map in the first method, it has a skeleton, and the sample.yaml is for functions which don't specify any annotations. So now I have created the secret and I've also deployed. So once this function is deployed, which is going to generate the YAML for us, let's head over to the openfaas UI. You could see the function, and now you invoke, you get the swagger.yaml. So, but with this swagger.yaml, you want to visualize it in a UI. So there is a pre-built Docker image that you could use to visualize the UI. So this is the Docker image that's been pre-built. It's going to look for the faas-swagger function in the openfaas gateway to get the YAML file, and in the same directory there's a ki.yaml in which the image name and the environment variable, which is an openfaas gateway, is mentioned. I'm going to apply this YAML into the control plane of openfaas because I could refer the gateway locally. So that's it, it has been deployed. Let's port forward to this service. So once it's port forwarded, let's open up the UI, and yes, I have opening up the UI. So as you can see, the same set of functions you can see here, but it is referring to a different Swagger YAML endpoint, which is the faas-swagger function itself, and you can see the YAML from here. It is the same YAML file. To sum up, you can use this utility to set up a Swagger endpoint for your openfaas functions. Define the Swagger spec of your functions as annotations in your stack.yaml. You can choose any of the two deployment methods for this entity, either as a function or you can have it as a standalone entity. If you have any questions or comments or issues, please raise issue in the GitHub repo. Thank you.